All right. Let's try this again, guys. My apologies for the last few streams. I had to shut them down because my internet or OBS, whatever it is, it was messing up, but I think I figured it out. I tweaked some things. I reset the modem. I did all the stuff they tell you to do, right? All the troubleshooting. So let's see. Let's see if that works. I'll wait for a few you guys to get in the chat so we could chop it up a little bit. We could chop it up a little bit. Man, I put out a short earlier of the back-to-back home runs from the Dominican Republic team, and it's doing pretty good. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. I definitely appreciate all the support. But before we get into the topics, we'll get into that later because I already went over it in the previous stream. But I wanted to talk about Michael K had a show earlier and he was talking about, is Aaron Judge underappreciated? And this is something that I've talked about on here several times, a lot of times, honestly, because I do feel like he's underappreciated. Not so much by Yankee fans, even though there are some Yankee fans that underappreciate, and there's some that just don't know any better, right? Especially, and this is not to knock the younger fan base, but especially younger fan base. I don't think you guys realize, and I always say this, that this is not normal. This is not does not happen all the time, right? To have a player, uh, this is a generational type player that you might never see another player like this. Yeah, there'll be good players come and go, but as a longtime Yankee fan myself, every generation has the player, right? When first started watching Yankees, it was Don Mattingly, and then Derek Jeter, uh, and then Aaron Judge, right? Shortly after that, but this is different. Like with Aaron Judge, man, he is on a whole nother playing field. Even than Derek Jeter, right? Derek Jeter was great. Don't get me wrong. The captain, we all know his story. He's my favorite player growing up. But Aaron Judge I put him on another level. Like is he on the Mount Rushmore? Maybe not, but he's up there, Like he's knocking on those kind of levels. He's that good. And it's a shame that he can't get a ring. And it's a shame that a lot of people say that you can't even put him on the Mount Rushmore of Yankees unless he wins a ring, and stuff like that. Because I understand why a lot of fans feel like that, but it's it's really not his fault. Some of it, I guess, you could say it's his fault. He's had bad postseasons and he's had his bad moments, but so does everybody. Nobody is perfect, right? In the clutch. I know we like to think even Derek Jeter, he was clutch, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he was perfect. There was a bunch of times that he didn't come through, but the next man did, and we just never remember that, because somebody else picked him up. Aaron Judge doesn't have that luxury. If he doesn't do it, most likely nobody else in the lineup is going to do it. And he just gets a bad rap, in my opinion. He does get a bad rap. But we're watching one of the greatest baseball players ever. This is not even arguable at this point. The numbers that he's putting, the stuff that he's doing is just incredible. This is not normal. He's 33, gonna be 34. It's not gonna last forever, too. It won't last forever. And when he's gone, I feel like we'll appreciate it more when he's gone. And it's always like that. There's a saying, right? You don't know what you have until it's gone. And it'll be the case for him. I feel like he doesn't get the flowers. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani, right? And he deserves it, right? Because he's a great player, and some people consider him the GOAT. And there's an argument to be made for that. But people don't even put Aaron Judge in that conversation. I think he is underappreciated by the media, by baseball fans. I'm not gonna say Yankee because Yankee fans, I think we know what we have, but there's some of us will never give him his flowers until he wins a ring. And I understand that, but is that fair to him? I don't know. right? Is it fair to him? I don't want to make the comparison to Otani, but a guy like Otani, right? You think he was ever going to take the Angels to a World Series or something like that? He's a huge part of that team, but he has a support a real strong group behind him. And Aaron Judge, he has some good players behind him, but he doesn't have a really strong group like that. You know, with the exception of when Juan Soto was on the team. When Juan Soto was on the team is different, and I think that's what Aaron Judge needs right now, and that's what the Yankees need. And I don't think Cody Bellinger's that guy. He's not the Robin to Batman. Cody Bellinger is a great player, but every good team, even like when you look at the Blue Jays last year, right? Vladimir Guerrero, they have their star, and then they have their others. They have the star, the 1A and the 1B. And the 1B was George Spring, even though he's older, but he played up to it during the postseason. And the Yankees, we had that before with Judge and Soto. We don't have that anymore. And I don't think Judge and Cody Bellinger even compares to any of that. So, so yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So, like Michael K said, is he underappreciated? I don't agree with a lot of things that Michael K. I think Michael K sometimes he just hates the Yankees fan base at this point. And this is coming from a fan of his. I would listen to him since I was younger, since a kid. I'm 42 years old, I'm gonna be 42. I've been listening to him for a long time. And lately he just has I don't know. I don't know. He's upset with the Yankees fan base, and the way he makes it seem like the Yankees fan base doesn't appreciate him. That's not. There's a small percentage of fans that don't appreciate Aaron Judge, and those are the ones that feel like he needs to literally put this team on his back and hit 50 home runs in the postseason to carry him to a World Series ring. Those are the fans and there's a very minority. It's a tiny minority of Yankee fans that don't appreciate him. But I think overall, as baseball fans, as throughout Major League Baseball, even Major League Baseball, I think now they're starting to give him a little bit of credit, a little bit of publicity. But he doesn't get the love that a guy like Shohei Ohtani gets, right? Every fan base loves Shohei Ohtani. It's crazy, right? I can't say the same about Judge. He just, he doesn't get his flowers, and it's crazy. It is crazy. He's not the darling of MLB. I think it's starting to change a little bit because they're starting to realize, man, this dude is incredible. He's absolutely phenomenal, right? He don't pitch. I get it. Maybe if he pitched, it'd be different. But in terms of hitting, he is by far the best hitter, I would say, since Barry Bonds. He really is. Definitely is. But anyway, we'll get into some Yankee stuff. I'm gonna just ignore the topics right now. I'm gonna freestyle everything. So if you got guys in the chat, man, say something. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? Let's talk about the WBC, and then we'll talk about the Yankees a little bit later. The WBC, man, it went off with a bang today. And there's only exhibition games, but it started with the bang. Obviously, Team USA rolling out their team, like the lineup is star-studded from top to bottom, 1 through 9. It is relentless, the entire lineup. The same with the Dominican Republic. Their lineup is absolutely incredible. Freaking crazy, crazy lineup. Crazy, crazy lineup. They freaking put up 3 home runs back to back to back. It was exciting, man. That DR game was very exciting. And it's like a glimpse of more to come, what's to come. This WBC, I feel like maybe the first couple games, like those pool rounds, you got to weed out the not so good teams. But once those guys get out of there and we start facing these big heavy hitter matchups with these teams that are really good go against each other, this is going to be must-see baseball. In my opinion, it's going to get to a point where I feel like it's going to draw a lot of attention, even more than 2023, even more than this World Series that just passed between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. It's going to be good. guys. So stay tuned. The WBC is definitely gonna be good. But wow, man, Team DR, the Dominican Republic went off today, man. Absolutely off, and they're fun to watch. I get it, like old school people, maybe traditionalists. They don't like the showboating and the flashiness and all the bat flipping and pimping and all that stuff, right? I love it, man. I think that we need more of it. Obviously, there's a certain level that just gets too much. As we watch Juan Soto hit the go ahead two run home run for DR there. He actually went back to back to back with Manny Machado and who was it? Caminero hit the third one. But these guys, man, it's fun. It's fun to watch. It really felt like playoff baseball in spring, which is absolutely crazy. It was definitely fun. But it's going to be interesting. Japan, look, Japan. Even though I didn't watch the games, but from the highlights and everything I saw, they lost to a regular MPB team, and that's not a good look. They're supposed to be, the heavy, if not the favorite. I wouldn't say the favorites. USA is the favorites, right? I'd say the DR is the runner up favorites, and then Team Japan is, you can have them maybe 2 or 3, whichever one. Some people have them as their favorites to win it all. But you can't go out there and lose to a regular MPB team. Kikuchi had the first game for Team Japan, and he got lit up for the most part. They did win the second game versus the Tigers, but I don't know. Even looking at the highlights? I mean, and look, I could be wrong. Maybe they start the tournament and they really get it going, but they didn't look. They I wasn't too impressed, I'll say. But then again, look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jonathan, yeah, I'm back. I was having trouble, man. I was having technical difficulties, but it looks like everything's stable now. If it's not, please let me know. That's a good thing. Jonathan, what do you think? Is Aaron Judge underappreciated? I think if anything, see, like I liked Michael K's topic, right? When he was talking about it, because this is something that I've talked about here. I say it all the time that I feel like he's underappreciated. But he made it seem like it's like Yankee fans, like we're ungrateful. Like that's how I get. I don't know. Is it me? Is it just me? Or I get that. I get that kind of vibe. Like he's trying to make it seem like we're ungrateful. What are you talking about? We're not ungrateful. There's a small minority of Yankee fans who don't appreciate Aaron Judge in general, man. A small minority of fans that don't appreciate him. So to make it seem like the fan, that's the one thing I don't like from, uh, all these talking head figures, man, of the media. I feel like that as a Yankee fan, man, we've gotten such a bad rap. Yeah, Miss Chocolate, you took the words right out of my mouth. We've gotten such a bad rap for some reason. Uh, they, I don't know why. And there's a small minority, and I get it, right? And every fan base has that small minority who are just, I'm not gonna say crazies, but they just think different. They have their own opinions, and they have every right to. It's a small minority, and of every fan base. But we've been labeled, right, as Yankee fans. The Yankee fan has been labeled as crazy, like just don't know what they're talking about, and ungrateful, right? They're like, what? Like, for instance, they say, You're ungrateful. You made it to the playoffs every year pretty much, and you're ungrateful." And it's like, yeah, no, we're grateful for making it to the playoffs. We're not saying that. But where we do get upset is the way it always ends up. It always ends in embarrassment and absolute failure. So you leave that part out though, and nothing changes. That's where I think, me personally, that's where I get look, losing is gonna happen, right? You're gonna lose. You can't win the World Series every year, even though we want to. But what gets me upset, right? What upsets me is that nothing changes. It's like you see it's not working, and nothing happens to change for whatever reason. They just and they gaslight you. Like, what's your problem? This I feel like the Yankee like the Yankees and Michael K and all these other people, they look at us fans, right? And they say, "What's your problem? What is your problem? What are you crying about?" You know, Stop, like, why are you being ungrateful? Like, we're entitled. Like, no, it's not the point. Most Yankee fans right now, especially if you're young, like my son is 14 years old, he's never seen the Yankees win. He's not entitled to anything. He don't feel entitled. He's never seen them win. You know, me, I'm fortunate that I got to live through the 90s and seeing those dynasties, right? But they need to realize, man, that a whole generation of fans right now, literally a whole generation has never seen the Yankees win ever. So they, so them look at us like we're entitled. No, man, we're not. I feel like we want to win. Obviously, that's just the way it is. But if anything, like they make it seem like the Yankees fan base is spoiled. Like we're the least spoiled. We make it to the playoffs area. Yeah, of course, because we spend $300 million and we have a guy by the name of Aaron Judge. We have a guy by the name of Aaron Judge. I don't know why they pulled up. You got to put dollar signs. Exclamation points is for stats only. So we got a guy named Aaron Judge, right? Without Aaron Judge, this entire franchise, and look, you could call me crazy, right? We saw it in 2023. We saw it in 2023. Without Aaron Judge, this team it's not going anywhere, unfortunately, right? I don't care who you got. I don't care. Yeah, we got Cody Bellinger. He's not going to put this team on the back. Aaron Judge is literally like so much of this offense. It's absolutely crazy that without him, I'm afraid. Look, knock on wood. Even like I'm watching him in the WBC. When they took him out, I'm not gonna like I was glad to watch him, but when they took him out, because he got a single or did he get walked, one or the other, right? But he went to first base. When DeRosa took him out, I was happy. I was like, yes, at least I know he's safe. That's how precious he is to this team. It's just like, man, okay, he's safe. He's good. I don't even want him running to second base. Like man, it's just crazy like that. That's how important that he is to this team. That without him, man, I'm telling you, like, God forbid, it is over without him. Over. Why does this Noah Clown guy keep popping up on my thing? Anyway, Miss Chocolate says K's in under house payroll. Yeah. Look, I'm gonna just freestyle. Just ignore all the topics. Maybe we'll get to it if you guys want to. But I was just thinking about that earlier because I was listening to him in my car and I was like, man, the title with Michael K, because he made he was talking about, is Aaron Judge underappreciated? And I felt, and when I read the title, I agree with him. So I'm clicking on it. I'm like, yeah, he is underappreciated. But it became a thing like where Yankee fans don't appreciate him. And I was like, whoa, guy, we appreciate him. What are you talking about? It became one of those things like Yankee fans don't appreciate. No, I think the rest of baseball don't appreciate him. We know what we got, right? We know, trust me. I'd say 99.9% of the Yankees fan base, right? Of the Yankee world, we know how great he is and how important he is to this team. And we know that without him, this team is nothing, you know? So, Michael K, I respect you a lot. You're the voice of the Yankees. And nobody gonna argue that. I grew up listening to you. I love the way you do, you call a game and everything, but sometimes, man, you just I don't know, especially lately, you've been way off your rocker, man. I don't know what the Yankee fan has done to you, but you need to get your you know, fucking get your panties out of bunch, bro, or whatever they say. Cause he is, I don't know. He's really lately, man. Like he doesn't like Yankee fans for some reason. He hates us. Jonathan says these are not George Steinbrenner Yankees. Yeah, but even if it wasn't George Steinbrenner, like I get it. See, like I will say this in Hal's defense, in Hal Steinbrenner's defense, things were a lot different when George was the boss, right? He didn't have to worry about the Cohen tax or the luxury tax and all that stuff. He kind of had free reign to do whatever he wanted. There weren't many other big owners like that willing to spend. And even if they were, uh, eh, uh guys who are richer than him, like I don't know, the Yankees we had, son, and we were drafting people. Our young core was much better. Like a lot of these guys worked out. I just imagine, right? Imagine if we had a core, and we thought we had one with the baby bombers. It didn't work out, right? We talking about all these guys came up together around the same time. Talking about Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera. We talking about that's five right there, and there's others too. Five greats all came up together through the same system. What the Yankees? Well, but aside from Aaron Judge, we haven't had anyone come up and really pan out. All right, some of them are okay, but no one has panned out. None. You know, none has really panned out. We thought we had some with the baby bombers. I think that them firing Joe Girardi really kind of derailed things a little bit. But we thought we had some with Gary Sanchez, Judge. I will include Glaber in there. Glaber still but he's not with us anymore. Clint Frazier, just a whole bunch of guys, right? That just never really panned out the way we hope. The way we hope. So people like to say, well, George Steinbrenner, he did whatever he wanted and he bought everybody. No, 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 no. We didn't really buy everybody. I just named 6 people right there that were crucial to the Yankee success in all those championships in the 90s and even 2009, most of them were there. All these guys during the dynasty, all were homebred through the Yankee system, came up. We're talking 5, 6 people, 6 players. 5 or 6 players. So to say that George Steinbrenner bought his teams and we can't be mad at the Dodgers because George Steinbrenner did the same thing. Yeah, George Steinbrenner, he did, buy a lot of players and throw a lot of money at times. But the core was the core, right? Obviously they brung A-Rod in later. But we talking about those dynasty years, that wasn't bought, man. That was made, right? That was earned through the Yankees organization, the farm system, the scouting, we got it right. The Yankees got it right all those years, right? With Derek Jeter, Andy Pettit, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, all these guys, we got those right. Now we're not doing that. Mashaka says she's so glad she got to witness that. Bro, what is happening? It keeps throwing smoke. So weird. I'm gonna have to turn it off. Oh yeah, it's acting crazy. It is acting crazy. Let me see. Let me fix this. Yeah. But no, you're good. I don't know why it just kept. I don't know. Something's off with it. Maybe I'll turn it off and turn it back on later. But yeah, so that's my little rant about all that. For people to say like the Yankees, we bought championships in those years. No, we didn't, guys. Come on. Really? No, we didn't. The Yankees didn't buy. Yeah, they spent money here and there, but nothing to the level that is happening right now with the Dodgers. That is like, it's not even close, in my opinion. It really isn't. It really isn't. But what are you gonna do, right? Even with that being said, it's baseball. Anybody can win. And I'm saying all this, man, because You got to get this man a ring. Look, guys, they got to get this guy a ring. It'll be a shame, a crime for Aaron Judge to end his career and be winless. You know, it'll just be a shame. And I feel like like a lot of people, people who don't know any better, they're gonna hold it against him, right? Well, you never won. It's okay, but baseball for some reason is, you can't do it on your own. You just can't. You can't do it on your own. You're not always gonna have get the big at bat, and it's a game of failure. You need other guys around you to step up and carry some of that load for you. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've been having all technical difficulties, but I want to stream, so we here. We're gonna stream. Let me go ahead and you know what? I have some trivia, some WBC trivia. We'll go ahead and do that. See if that's working here in a second. Oh, great. It's not working. Let me load it up real quick. We'll get that. Yeah, big mistake firing Girardi. That was tough. Mashaka says, we know Boone ain't getting one. He had his chance 2 years ago. Yeah, it sucks. I think, look, I think bringing in Nestor Cortez, that game one versus Dodgers, there was no recovering after that. Now, in hindsight, right, and looking back, there was no recovering from that, man. That really, really killed the morale, everything. Everything just, it like sucked the air out of that club, The whole clubhouse was just deflated after that game. That was a tough one. I think if that don't happen and we take that game, it's a whole different series. But, what's done is done. There's water under the bridge now. The Yankees got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. Me personally, I'm one of the fans that I feel like this team is a good team. But like, if I'm being honest with myself, I want to believe, right, that like, yeah, they could win the World Series. And I guess is a possibility, right? Is it probable? Not highly probable, but there is, I guess, a possibility that this team, as constructed right now, could go all the way. I think they need to make a move, though. I think that they need to make some big moves during the season, maybe at the trade deadline or whatever it is, in order to really to push this team to where it needs to be. I just do. I don't think they could really hang with some of these other teams in terms of a series. Yeah, through the course of 162, yeah, they I think they're gonna get 90, 92, 94, whatever it is, wins. Cool. But I think after that, though, in a 7-game series, a 5-game series versus a team like the Mariners or the Blue Jays, yeah, we don't contend. Even if we were to manage to get through all those guys and make it to the World Series, I guess there's a possibility that they could be a team like the Dodgers. I don't see it though. They need to make some acquisitions. That's for sure. That is for sure. Pablo, what's good, Pablo? This is my World Series, US versus DR. Yep, that's what I'm hoping for. USA versus DR. DR is looking good. I'm not gonna lie, look, Team USA. At first, like in my mind, I'm like Team USA. That, like, looking at the roster, I'm like, it's a wrap. I don't know how anybody's gonna beat this team. But watching that DR game today, I was like, man, they got some dogs, dude. They got some guys who are, they're really like that. These guys are like that. Like, they ball out, man. Soto with the home, and then went back to back to back, and the fans were there going crazy. It's a different vibe, man. It really is a whole different vibe. And I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Soto hit that home run, it was like a little part of me was hurt. A little part of, because I remember I was like, damn, I got the feeling like we had, like, we had that. That's what this team is missing. Somebody else who could do it. His Judge can't do it all alone. But yeah, they got a crazy lineup, man. They got a crazy, crazy lineup. They're gonna be exciting. But I would love to see USA versus DR. Yo, that'll be crazy, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Maybe Tarek Skubal decides to give us another start if it goes there, right? Let me know though, because Paul Skeens pitched today. Does that count? Because he said Paul Skeens said he's only doing two. He's only giving Team USA 2 starts. Was today one of those? Because if it was, what was the point of putting him in an exhibition game? Because Paul Skeens was the starter today. I hope not. Put this here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and I got 5 WBC trivia questions. We'll do that and then we'll come back. Remember A, B, C, or D in the chat to A, B, C, or D in the chat to answer. The faster you answer correctly, the more points you get. Hopefully it works. If not, I'm gonna look like a complete ass.
Trivia time. Which country won the first World Baseball Classic in 2006? Is it A, Cuba, B, Japan, C, Dominican Republic, D, United States?
Which country won the first WBC? Japan, was it? I know Japan won 3 times because I was watching, somebody said that. Japan won 3 times, United States won once, and Dominican Republic won once. So I guess it was Japan. I'm gonna go with Japan. They won 3 times. That's crazy, man. But we've never seen a USA team like this one. This one is stacked. Super stacked. Yep. Jonathan got it right there. Okay, next question.
Trivia time. Who was the 2013 WBC MVP when the Dominican Republic went undefeated? Is it A, Robinson Cano, B, David Ortiz, C,
I don't know this one.
Jose Bautista,
Cano, that's
D,
my guy.
Nelson Cruz?
It could be Nelson Cruz though. Jonathan went with Nelson Cruz. I feel like Jonathan be knowing, man. Braves Profar test positive again. That guy's a dummy. Why would you do it again, dude? Yeah, Robinson Cano, I beat you, Jonathan. And I swear I haven't looked at these questions. I literally just freaking put this in a ChatGPT. I haven't looked at it, so next question.
Trivia time. Which pitcher was named MVP of the 2017 WBC for Team USA? Is it A, Andrew Miller, B, Marcus Stroman, C, Roy Oswalt, D, Jarrett Cole?
Jarrett Cole. I don't even know. Has Garrett Cole ever played for the WBC? I have no idea. Marcus Stroman. I know he played for Puerto Rico last time. I went with Andrew Miller. And that was purely a guess. Purely a guess. Oh no, I didn't enter my... Oh shoot. I didn't press enter. Roy's going with Garrett Cole. Marcus Stroman. Wow. That's crazy how you could play for more than one team.
Trivia time. Who struck out Mike Trout for the final out of the 2023 WBC Championship game? Is it A, Yu Darvish, B, Shohei Ohtani, C, Masahiro Tanaka, D, Roki Sasaki?
Too easy. You gotta know this one, guys. Definitely gotta know this one. It'd be crazy, right? Even though Shohei is not pitching, right? Shohei Ohtani is not pitching. That's what he said, but maybe he'll come out. He says of right now he's not gonna pitch, but imagine, right? Instead of Shohei versus Trout, it's Shohei versus Judge or something like that. Would be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, I'm in the lead. Let's go. All right, last question.
Trivia time. Which player won WBC MVP in 2006 and 2009? Is it A. Ichiro Suzuki, B.
Daisuke.
Daisuke Matsuzaka, C. Sadaharu O, D. Yu Darvish?
Man, shout out to me too. I finally got my bachelor's degree, man. I just completed my last course and I passed. So I didn't pass with flying colors, but hey, C's get degrees, right? I just barely made it. So it's never too late, man. I'm 41 years old, going on 42, and I just got my bachelor's degree. So, oh, shit, I didn't even answer it, bro. Daisuke Matsuzaka, I'm bugging. It's not Matsui. Damn, Daisuke won it twice? That's crazy. Did he really? Somebody check that, because I don't. That can't be right. All right, let's end the game here. Oh, I won. Great. I didn't even get the last one right too. Jonathan, I beat you. So that's it. I'm the champ now, the reigning champ. Anyway, let's reset that. Let's go back to talking Yankees. But yeah, guys. Oh, thanks, man. You passed. Wait, hold on. I don't know what you're saying right there. So congratulations. Right? And I appreciate that. You passed. Happy birthday, Stephen B. That last part though, man, I'm not sure what you're saying, man. I hope it's not what you're saying. My wife passed right now at 86. Damn, sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. Star Wars says this team is stacked. Which one? You talking about USA or DR? USA is stacked too. They're absolutely stacked. But I think the only team really look. I get it. Team Japan won last time and they're good. I got it. I don't think they could go to toe to toe with this United States team. As we watch Judge with the 2 RBI single coming through, Captain America, his first at bat, so that's good. Even though it's only an exhibition game, but at least he started off good, because the narrative around Judge, and I get it. He's had some bad postseasons, and he hasn't always came through. But as of last year and this year, I think he got that monkey off his back, and he showed that he's clutch. People try to say like he has empty stats. That's another thing. Going back to the whole is Judge underappreciated thing. A lot of people say like he has empty calorie stats. And that is not true. If you look at his numbers with runners in scoring position, career-wise or by season-wise, it's the best by far throughout the team, right? Like you don't have, and when you batting 330 and hitting 50, 60 home runs, you can't fake those stats, right? Those are not empty calorie stats. I don't care what anybody says. Has he always gotten the big, huge hit? No. But he has the best numbers with runners in scoring position and all that stuff. If you look at it, I haven't even looked at it, but I without a doubt, absolutely know that on the New York Yankees, he has the best numbers in clutch situations. So the thing is with Judge is he don't got nobody else, man. What you want the guy to do? He only bats up once every 9 players. He can't bat every time, So it's just one of those things, man. It is one of those things. USA, Bryce Harper, who looked good today too. Yeah, I'm going for USA. For sure. Bam, man, what's up, Bam? Like I said, though, I can go for 3 teams. I know last time I went for DR, right? But I'm going for USA, not only because my guy, I'm about to call Judge Captain America. My guy, Aaron Judge, is on Team USA, but I don't know. I'm repping USA this year. I'm feeling the vibes. I really am with this team. But that's not to take away from DR, though, because I could go for DR, PR, or Team USA. But I'm going for Team USA this year. Definitely. Team USA. Harper says Harper and Schwarber and Judge are the heart of the team. Yeah. Schwarber said some good things about Judge. Like he wanted to be around Judge, and I'm telling you, a lot of these guys they playing this time because they wanted to be around Judge, just to soak in that game. Like Judge look, even the players know it, and I give this to Michael K because he got this part right. That he's revered around the league. Even all the players, all the other players, they admire him, dude. Even Juan Soto. Juan Soto said it himself when they asked him. It was like a Spanish interview, and they asked him like, "Who's the best hitter?" He could have said myself. Like usually he's like, "Oh, I'm the best." He got that ego. Now when they asked him that, he said, "No." He was like Aaron Judge. He was like, "He's the best on this planet." He was like, he told the dude in Spanish, he's like, "He's the best player I've ever seen. He's the best. There's nobody better than him." And I was like, damn, that's coming from Soto, who has a lot of ego, who usually it's like, nah, I'm the guy, And he's telling you, like, yo, this dude is the truth. And you can ask anybody, even Bryce Harper said it before. Years past, he said, Bryce Harper said it about Aaron Judge. He was like, there's no way that he's getting paid what he's getting paid and other people are getting paid more. He's the best player on this planet, And he's not even the highest paid player. Yeah. He's the best player and he's not the highest paid player. So, I mean, I say that to say that, look, and I think a lot of it, man, is due to especially Major League Baseball, because the PR they put behind Ohtani and the way they push him, and I get it because at the end of the day, this is a business, and they want your dollars, man. They want to take it out your pocket, especially the international market, the overseas, Japan. They know they getting so much money from them, so they're gonna prop him up high. And I'm not taking nothing away from Ohtani. Ohtani's great, and to me, he is the best player because he does both pitch and hit. But they don't like, man, the fact that let me tell you, like, right. So they keep saying, well, he got 4 MVPs. Judge's rookie year, he should have won MVP. His numbers were way better than Altuve's, and he didn't get it. If it was Altuve and Ohtani fighting for MVP, you think they would have gave it to Altuve? No chance, man. No chance they would have gave it to Altuve. So, yeah. Yankees need to get a player that hits. They need to get a player that hits with Judge. Maybe Belly. That would be great if Rice picks up that role. Judge needs that bat to help him. Let's talk about Ben Rice. Bellinger, look, Bellinger's a good player. I don't think he's that guy. He has a role. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player, but he is not Robin, right? If Judge is Batman, this guy's not Robin, But he's an important player on the team, though. Don't get me wrong. Ben Rice, can he be that guy? Look, I love Ben Rice, but to me, Ben Rice, he has some holes in his game that he's got to work on. He's got to fix. Right? He's susceptible to the breaking pitch low and in, or the splitter, especially if you're throwing a splitter low and in to him. You give him a couple high fastballs that he can't crush because Ben Rice crushes fastballs, but you change his eye level. You throw him some fastballs up, maybe he fouls it back, swings and miss. He's on it, and then give him a splitter low and in, or even a curveball low and in, or a slider low and in. I'm talking about low and in out the strike zone. He's gonna swing over it. We saw that last in the ALDS versus the Blue Jays. They had figured out Ben Rice. They weren't giving him fastballs he can hit. They were showing him fastballs that he couldn't do damage, tinkering around the zone and then just giving him those splitters. And him, Trent Grisham is another one who just kept falling for it over and over and over. And I don't want to be negative on Ben Rice. I love Ben Rice, right? But until he shows me he could fix that, then I'm gonna be like, okay. Because remember when Judge first came up too, right? Judge had a lot of holes in his game too, right? Even when he hit 52 home runs as in his rookie season, there was still ways to get him out. He was still chasing pitches. Remember, like the whole 2024, the whole postseason, it seemed, the whole World Series, he kept swinging at that slider. You just throw him high and tight where he can't do damage. He'll get jammed, foul one off, and then he would chase the slider outside, but he laid off that. Like he figured it out and he made the adjustment. Now he lays off those pitches. So he makes you throw a strike or you walk him. And a lot of teams, they would just walk Judge. A lot of teams would just walk him. They give him stuff. They're like, okay, he's not going to chase. We'll walk him. And they walk him because they know that they can get the next guy to chase and get himself out. Judge doesn't get himself out anymore. So Ben Rice, I think he's going to be really good. I hope that he can get there, but his game ain't there to that level where I can say he's the Robin to Batman, I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope I'm wrong. It's nice seeing people getting onto Schwarber and Judge. Yeah, Schwarber's always been a beast, man. He's always been clutch. But last year, though, he really took it to another level, man. Really took it to another level last year. And, if I was voting for the MVP, because obviously he was the runner-up, I would have given it to Shohei Ohtani too. But I think it was unfair. It was unfair that a lot of people disqualified Kyle Schwarber because he's technically just a DH, right? And I felt like it was unfair to do that because isn't that what Ohtani was before last year, right? For like 2 years, he didn't pitch and he still got MVP. So, and don't get me wrong, he deserved it. But to disqualify Kyle Schwarber just because he's just a DH, I think that was wrong. But Ohtani deserved it, so he won. The same way, a lot of people felt that Cal Riley deserved it over Judge just because he's a catcher, and I guess it's harder, whatever the case may be. Look, it wasn't even close. That one either. It's Judge and Ohtani, and then there's everybody else. Don't get me wrong, there's great players, and Cal Riley had a great season, and Kyle Schwarber had a great season, but these two guys are on a different, they're just on a whole nother level than everybody else. And the stats prove it too. Stats prove it. Roy says, I think Soto has matured since he moved on. I think he still has a chip on his shoulder. I think Soto does. I mean, probably not now anymore. Doesn't miss it, but I think he wishes it would have worked out, with the Yankees. Though, like deep down, it's like, damn. Because I think he does have a lot of respect for Aaron Judge, and as he should be, everybody in the league. Like I think if you ask most players, right, put it this way, man, Ohtani's great. Don't get me wrong, Ohtani's a beast. We love him because he does both things. But I think if you ask every Major League Baseball player, who's your favorite player, they're gonna say Judge. Judge is your favorite player's favorite player. The majority, I think. So, but Ohtani is the greatest, though, right? I mean, you can't deny that. My guy can pitch and hit, and he could give you. He's an ace on the mound, and he's also freaking great at the plate. So nobody's arguing that, but I think the Judge is the best hitter. When it comes to hitting, Judge is the best hitter. And Ohtani's 2, maybe even 3, Roy says, Rice is young. Yeah, maybe soon. I think he has the power. No, I mean, right. Ben Rice got power. Of course he got power. We know that. And he can hit a fastball with the best of them. But he got some holes in his swing that he got to work at. And when I say holes in his swing, I say pitchers have figured out a way that they can. They figured out a way to attack him, and we saw it in the ALDS. They figured out a way to. Matter of fact, we saw it before that in the wild card. Because remember, he didn't play the first game. Him or Jazz Chisholm didn't play the first game. For what reason, I have no idea. But second game, he came out, hit that home run, had a great. But after that, right? They shut him down, and they shut him down in the ALDS, and with the same scouting report, they figured out how to attack him, and I feel like if he don't fix that, the rest of the league is gonna know it, And they're gonna attack the same way with Volpe. Like they figured out he can't hit high fastballs. Guess what they throwing him? High fastball, high fastball, high fastball. And then when Volpe tries to cheat, when he finally tries to cheat and he says, I'm not gonna get beat by the fastball, guess what they throw him? A slow slider or something, and then he ends up chasing out in front. So Ben Rice is great, but he's got a lot to prove too. Because technically this is this is his sophomore year. It's really his second full year. So he's got a lot to prove. Let's hope he doesn't regress. I don't think so, though. I don't. Because Ben Rice is going to smash bad pitching. It's the good pitching that I worry about. The good pitching worries me with Ben Rice. All right, man. Take care, Roy. Have a great night. Definitely. Ohtani couldn't hit that inside pitch. Oh, probably not. You're probably right, but don't sleep on Ohtani. Ohtani's great. He can turn on a pitch like that too. He could hit a pitch like that. You're talking about that 100-mile-per-hour fastball inside. Yeah, if anybody else can do it, it's probably Ohtani. But yeah, that was incredible, man. Those are pitchers like that you got to tip your cap if you're a pitcher. You be like, yeah, I don't know how the hell this guy hit that, because that was not even meant to be hit, right? It wasn't even meant to be a strike, really. And he took it deep. That's Judge, man. Star Wars says Schwarber can do that. Schwarber got a quick swing. He does have a quick swing. Maybe he could do it. There's only a few people that could do that, man. I don't think Judge is the only person that can do it. There's a few people that might can do it, but it like that, Judge is good like that. You got to be a great hitter, though, to turn on a 100-mile-per-hour fastball high and inside. Like, most people, they won't even get their barrel around the zone in time. They might get jammed. They might hit it right on the hands, man, right on the hands, right here. But Judge, he turned on the pitch. Obviously, we know that what happened after that. And that feed was good, brother. CMB says, yeah, we never see that again. I think we've seen it before. Don't get me wrong, man. I think that, like I said, Ohtani could do it, in my opinion. And we're talking about right now, he's talking about that 3-run home run that Judge hit to tie, what was it, Game 4 of the ALDS or Game 3 of the ALDS. Obviously his big moment, even though we end up losing the series anyway. But that ball was like almost impossible to hit, and Judge hit it and hit off the foul pole, obviously. So Stephen B is saying only Judge can do that. And I was like, yeah, but I think Ohtani could do that too. I think he could do it. Yeah, man. But again, right now, look, it's hard to talk about spring training. I mean, obviously, Giancarlo Stanton made his debut today, went 1 for 2, had a walk. Max Fried gave up 3 walks on 3 innings. So, but look, it's hard to talk about spring training when you got WBC going on, when you have Team USA freaking stacked to the brim and Team DR putting on a show. I'll be honest, it's going to be tough to even talk about the Yankees for the next 2 weeks. Obviously, I'm going to do it. But the WBC, man, is more see. So you might see a lot more WBC content from me. NFE, I don't know if NFE is doing the play-by-plays for WBC. I'm not sure if you're doing that, but yeah, it's a lot more exciting. It's more fun. And then once the WBC is done, then I'm gonna lock back in. I'm gonna stay locked in on the Yankees, but I'm gonna really tap in after the WBC. So it says we need more players like Schwarber, Judge, and Ohtani. You talking about in Major League Baseball? There's a ton of good players, man. I think baseball right now is the most exciting it's been in a long time, for me anyway. And I think a lot of people, especially after last year's World Series, and then last year's World Series, and then going into this WBC, I don't know if you watched that that DR game, but that's just a glimpse of what's to come from the WBC. I think baseball's getting a lot of attention. It's starting to garner a lot of good attention. A lot for a long time. It was a lot of just bad press around baseball. But people are liking it, especially you watch that. Like look, right? Look at last year. I get it. Most of us are Yankee fans, right? So obviously we was upset that the Blue Jays versus the Dodgers, the two teams that we probably hate the most, besides Boston, um, won the World Series. But that World Series was way better than this Super Bowl this year. I would say than the Super Bowl last year too. Than the past couple Super Bowls that I can remember. This World Series was way better than that. And I think that this WBC is going to be even, it's going to top that, where it's going to start drawing a lot of people, a lot of interest from people who usually don't care about baseball, watch baseball. Because baseball has a bad rap where it's like, oh, it's boring. It's too long. It's boring. But people are starting to tap in and be like, oh, this is actually pretty exciting. And it's not as boring as we thought. And what's this? ABS, you challenging it's changing for the better, I think. Star Wars says he's a Phillies fan. Yeah. Man, talk to me about your Phillies. The Phillies, you think Bryce Harper ends the season as a Philly? Star Wars. I think the Phillies, man, you guys have one more shot at this. You got one more shot at this. And when I say at this, I mean I would like I don't want to say core, but with this group of guys, you got one more shot at it. And I think they're gonna disband it. What's up, Sunil? Jones and Dominguez. I heard yeah, man. Freaking the whole Spencer Jones and Dominguez thing. Look, and I get upset with it because look, I get it. A lot of people don't want them to be traded. My whole thing when I say, look, just trade them, it's not that I don't like them. It's like my whole thing is like, look, if you're not gonna use them, then let's get something. Let's trade them. Let's trade them to get something that we can use right now, or that you will use. That's the thing that kills me with the Yankees. But I like Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones. I want to see Spencer Jones get a chance. I really do. I think I think he earns at least a cup of coffee. He's earned a cup of coffee in the big leagues. Will he get it? I don't know. But it'd be a damn shame if this dude goes through the whole 2026 season and doesn't make his debut. That'd be just insane to me. Look, I get it. He strikes out a lot. I'm not saying he's ready. I'm not saying he's not ready. I'm saying that he needs to just get him up here, dude. It's about time. I'm talking about Spencer Jones, the first round draft pick. I don't know what's the signing bonus, but I'm assuming that it's more than a few million, right? More than probably 3, 4, maybe $5, $6 million they probably gave him a signing bonus when they drafted him. A lot is invested in him. We missed out on a lot of players that we could have gotten before if we had traded him. Bring him up. Let him get his cup of coffee. Let's see what he can do. Right? He's looked good so far this spring. He really has. I hope they don't wait till September to call this guy up just to get a few at bats. Let's do it sooner than later. That's what I think. And that's my take on Spencer Jones. Like, whether you love him, whether you hate him, whether he's ready, whether he's not, let's get the guy a cup of coffee, send him up here, let him make his major league. Let's see what we got. All right, finally. We've been internally, right? And I know Star Wars, man, because you're a Phillies fan. I'm talking about Spencer Jones. He's at one point he was like top Yankees prospect. Not anymore. Excuse me. Hold on. Internally, right, as in the Yankee fan base, we've been having internal conflict about Spencer Jones. All right, we got half the fan base that they swear he's the next Aaron Judge, and the other half that's like, bro, just trade him. Me, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think he has the potential, but a part of me is just like, yo, just trade him. If you're never gonna call this guy up, right? And he strikes out too much down there in the minors anyway. But if you're never gonna give him a chance, just trade him. That's how I see it. Um, but man, that is a topic of man. Spencer, when you bring up Spencer Jones to Yankee fans, it's like you're talking about religion or politics because it gets crazy and people get heated and it gets real. People get real sensitive about the Spencer Jones topic for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but that's what it is. And if he says he wants Spencer Jones to be Spencer Jones, I just want the guy to get a chance, man. You know, look, I'm not the highest. I'm not super high on Spencer Jones. I'm not super low, but I've I've seen enough this spring and last spring too, because he went off last spring, and I've heard enough, and he's been down there. And obviously, last year when he got called up to AAA, he went on a freaking absolute tear. Yeah, hit like 10 home runs in like 7 games or something like that. Give him a chance, man. Just call him up here, right? Give him a chance. That's what I say. Give him a chance. But I don't think it's gonna happen, man. Unfortunately, my headphones are coming out. Woken, what's up, Woken? So Neil says send Dominguez to the Angels for Trout and Spencer Jones to the Phillies for Harper. Yeah, the whole Harper to the Yankees thing. Here's my thing, right? First of all, Spencer Jones ain't gonna do it for Harper. He's not gonna do it. But if you get Harper, what do you do with Ben Rice? If you don't trade him, if he's not included in that deal, what do you do for Ben Rice? Really? Because that's it. Harper's the first baseman there. Yeah, you don't want me personally. I don't know why a lot of people want Ben Rice as a catcher. I don't think he should be. He's not good enough to be a major league catcher from what I've seen, right? The defense is just not there. And I feel like him catching every day is going to take away from his offense at some point. So we can't do that either. So if you're high on Ben Rice, you can't have Bryce Harper. Welkin, what's good, my brother? He says, I'm the other half where he deserves a shot over even Smellinger. But too bad we signed. Nah, man. I don't think, look, he deserves a shot, but he's not going to play over Bellinger, though. I think he deserves a shot, right? Just bring him up here, let him get his couple at bats, a game here and there, just to see. Just let him break the ice, at least see some major league pitches, see what it feels like to stand in a box in Yankee Stadium. Get that off his system because he's been dreaming about this his whole life and he's working so hard. They would not call this man up for nothing. Last year he freaking went on a tear where he was dominating AAA. Obviously, he ended up striking out. He still struck out a lot, but he went on an absolute tear. And any other organization, he would have got called up. But that wasn't even good enough to get him called up. Spencer Jones is about to be what, like 25, 26? He's getting up there in age in terms of minor leagues. They got to do something. I think this is the year that they do it. Hopefully, they don't wait till the end. But, it's going to ruffle some feathers too. We'll see, though. Because another thing with Boone, Boone gets attached to his players. So I'm sure he's already, maybe he's not super high on Jason Dominguez, but he's already fond of Jason Dominguez, right? He knows Spencer Jones, but he don't know Spencer Jones like that. Like he knows Dominguez. Dominguez been with him 2 years already in the dugout. Whether he's played or not, he's been around. So they probably have Dominguez higher on the pecking order. And I understand why, because I probably would too, but they got to figure out a way. That's why I say, look, just trade him, right? Just trade somebody. Let's do something to get some, and I'm not saying for no measly bullpen arm. Like, maybe you include him in a deal to get a real piece, man, a real guy. I don't know. Figure it out. But you can't let these guys rot in the minor leagues forever either. I know that. You can't just leave him down there forever. It's not fair to them, and it's not smart. It's not a good business. Jones should be a center field next season if there's going to be a season. That's what I'm saying. That what if there isn't a season? Now we're talking about 2 years from now, It's getting to that point. Would have rather use Bellinger's money or pitching for a contact bat? The Bellinger contract. Look, I wasn't mad they signed Bellinger because I wanted Bellinger back. But the way the contract is, first of all, I think he's not. But that, I'm not gonna say they overpaid for him because they probably. But that's the market, right? If you look at other guys, that's what people are getting, right? I think that $42 million for the first year and second year or whatever it is, man, that's a lot. That is a lot. It's gonna be tough, man. Tough if he doesn't produce or if he regresses in any way. The one thing about Trent Grisham that's good is like, okay, if he regresses and he doesn't have nearly a season that he had last year, it's okay. Like it's only 1 year, right? It's only 1 year, and then you could trade him at the trade deadline if you want, or whatever it is. After June, you could trade him. This Bellinger one, man, this is one that you got to wear, right? Because if he plays good, right? If he plays really good, he will opt out and try to get another contract after taking 40-something million from you for 1 year. And then you back with square one trying to get him back. And if he plays bad, then he doesn't opt out and you're stuck, So I know a lot of people felt like Cashman finessed. Cashman finessed Scott Boras and Cody Bellinger. I don't think so. I think Scott Boras and Cody Bellinger finessed Cashman. They waited it out. Obviously, Cashman waited him out too. I think Cashman could have got it for cheaper. Because once Luis Robert got traded to the Mets and the Mets were kind of off the table, even though they really weren't, because they could have still got him because they need a right fielder. I think both parties got a little desperate. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think Cody Bellinger will have a decent season. Whether you think it's worth $42 million, I don't know. But he's going to have a decent season. See, I'm glad that you mentioned that NFA because this is my thing, right? I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I was just saying that I want to see Jones up here, not as a starter, but I want to see him at least get a cup of coffee. But this is my argument where everybody says that, well, remember Judge had the same problem. Yeah, Judge struck out a lot. But you see, you just told me that he's not Judge, right? Judge we talking about arguably one of the greatest hitters ever, right? Ever. He fixed his strikeout problem. Can Spencer Jones do it, though? Right? Can Spencer Jones fix that? I don't know. It's not easy. And it could happen, right? He could fix it. But the odds are that if you're striking out at a 40% clip in the minor leagues, it's probably not going to be better in the majors. It's probably not. Judge was different. Judge, he changed something drastically. Because when he first came up, yeah, he had early success because he had a home run his first at bat in the big leagues. But after that, it went straight downhill. He knew he was at his end of his rope. That's why he found that guy Teacher Man, and they figured that out. But Judge was at the end of his rope. You can't strike out at a 40% clip. You can't, you just can't. Not in the big leagues. It's not going to happen, right? So he fixed it. Spencer Jones been trying to fix it. You can tell he's been tinkering. And if I'm not mistaken, and one of y'all in the chat, man, let me know. Spencer Jones already was working with Teacher. He already tried the whole, that Teacher Man dude, what they call is the high, HLP, higher level pattern or whatever. Whatever they call it, right? Spencer Jones already tried that stuff. It didn't work for him last year either. The strikeout rate stood the same. And Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this Otani toe tap or whatever he's trying now, maybe that's the difference. We don't know. They got to give him a chance, though. My thing it's gotten to the point where you've lost so much valuable and you've lost so much value in him. Then just bring him up and see what he got. And if it don't work out, you send him back down. And Harper has no trade class. Yeah, but I think he would agree if Philadelphia and the Yankees was to work out a deal with Bryce Harper. I'm not saying that that's what I want, but if they was to work out a deal that both parties can agree with, and they go to Bryce Harper and say, "Hey, you want to be a Yankee?" I think he's doing it. He's not gonna think twice. He's gonna do it. He is definitely gonna do it. Mhm. Yeah, that's welcome. I agree. Harper will definitely waive it for the Yankees. Let me know in the chat though. Do you guys want Harper? All right, this is what I'm gonna do. Right, I'm gonna set this up right here. We're gonna take a vote on this. We are going to take a vote. That's what we're gonna do. Hold on. And let's do this. It's gonna do. If you want Bryce Harper, I'll wait for this stats to get out the way. What am I getting all these texts? I got to piss like a racehorse right now. I swear, man. I'm trying to be low because my kids are sleeping. They got school tomorrow. Here we go. Right, ready, guys? If you want Bryce Harper, put 1 in the chat. Not yet though. When I put this up, and Ben Rice 2, because you can only have 1 of these guys. Would you rather have Bryce Harper or Ben Rice right now? 1 for Brett. Type it in the chat. 1 for Bryce Harper. 2 for Ben Rice. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with my man Benny. Don't. Because Bryce Harper's a little old, man. I'm taking a page out of Li's book, and I want to see the young guys get a shot. Some of these young guys, especially Ben Rice, he showed so much potential that he deserves a chance. 1 or 2 in the chat. Damn, 5 votes for Ben Rice. There you have it. It's unanimous right now. It is unanimous. Everybody, 5 votes to 0. And look, don't get me wrong. If this was, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or whatever, if this was 6 years ago, Ben Rice all day. But I feel like that window, that Ben Rice as a Yankee window, closed. Now, don't get it twisted though, right? But the thing is, what do you do with Ben Rice, right? If they were to make a trade and figure it out, because I would love to have Bryce Harper. I still think he's clutch, but then what happens to Ben Rice, right? They're not going to put him as the catcher. He's not going to be an everyday catcher. That's not happening. So, what do you do at that point? You have to trade him or do something. Make him a left fielder, a third baseman or something. That's not going to happen. Yeah, Wilkins says save your money for something else. Rice is fine. Yeah, I think that stuff. And look, and I've been hearing that too on YouTube. Some people will disagree. Some people say trade Ben Rice, and get Bryce Harper and everything. I don't think that does it, man. So it's tough, right? Because Bryce Harper is getting old. I would love Bryce Harper, man, but over Rice, I don't know. That's too much, man. That is too much. I'm gonna rock with Ben Rice for sure. For sure. Oh, what am I doing? Wilkins says, if we could trade our entire farm for Skeens, Sure, goodbye, Rice. Oh yeah, yeah. For somebody like Skeens, for Paul Skeens, yeah, Ben Rice is gone. I like him, but I don't like him that much. He's got to go. Somebody remind me, what was the package? Oh, I thought the thing turned off. Didn't they say that they had like somebody had floated a rumor saying that the Yankees they checked in on Paul Skeens and was like, hey, we'll give you all these guys, and the Pirates laughed at them. The thing is with Cashman, man, Cashman for a guy like Paul Skeens, Cashman doesn't have the balls to play in the big boys table, man. A guy like I forgot the guy from the Padres GM. I can't. Why am I drawing a blank? That dude got balls. He got balls. AJ Preller, there we go. AJ Preller, that's a guy, that's a GM. He got cojones, bro. He sits on the table with the big boys and makes moves that most GMs are scared to do, right? The same thing with the Dodgers, even though they got a lot of money, so it makes it easy. What's the guy's name? Andrew Freeman, whatever. Makes it easy. Yeah, AJ Preller. AJ Preller, he got nuts. That dude got a set on him, bro. Let me tell you, pause, but he's willing to make moves that are crazy. He's getting rid of top prospects. But guys, that's how they landed Mason Miller, you know. They got rid of the top prospect in all of MLB at the time, the top shortstop prospect in all of MLB at the time. Not anymore. Now he's number two. What's the guy's name? LeVries or something like that. Now he fell to number two because Connor Griffin is the top overall prospect and also the top shortstop prospect. Cashman don't have the stones to sit on the table to really put chips down for big time players like that. Cashman's in the little boy table, man. He's in the bargain bin. He's at the swap meet, right? Cashman's at the swap meet looking for players, right? And guys like AJ Preller and the Dodgers and some of these other teams, they're at Louis Vuitton, and Gucci, getting the good stuff. And we at the swap meet, hoping we could catch a deal somewhere. Mocha says if Rodon doesn't do too well this postseason, we need to find his replacement. Rodon's been all right. Look, and I was never been the biggest Rodon fan. Rodon is not the problem with this rotation or this team. Could he be better? I guess, but he's been pretty good last year. He's not the problem though, man. I don't think he's the problem. Is he good? Is he an ace? Is he a one? No. Speaking of Rodon and the rotation, reports are out of camp. The reports are that Cole is already pitching like himself. And that is great news. Obviously, he's having some live ABs, but obviously no in-game kind of stuff. But the fact that people are saying like he's looking like the old Cole right now that's music to my ears, really, because a lot of this season for the Yankees depends on which Garrett Cole we getting. Like who are we getting from Garrett Cole? So when reports out of camp are saying that he's looking like old Garrett Cole, and I get it, they're probably gonna always say that, but I really think he is. Like I could just see in his face, like he hasn't gone anywhere. When I look at Garrett Cole, it's like, yeah, he's still that ace. He still got it. He still got something in the tank for us. So that's gonna help this team a lot. Is it enough though? You added Garrett Cole is it enough? Me personally, I if I had to put it in percentage wise, I think the Yankees have like a 25% chance of winning the World Series this year, unless something changes. But it's possible. And I think with Garrett Cole is going to help this team a lot. And maybe like I said, a trade or something. And hopefully Cashman sits on the table with the big boys, with the AJ Prellers and these guys, and really get someone, Mega Cheek said, my brother in Christ, I log in and first thing I hear is he has balls and he has a set. Man, I'm talking about AJ Preller, the GM. So let me put some more context to that because you kind of came in at a bad time. pause. So I'm gonna say this is a big pause because there's gonna be a lot of funny talk. Anyway, I was saying that Cashman, right? Cashman is he's looking for players. He's at the swap meet looking for players, right? He's at the swap meet. He's at the garage sale, the yard sale, looking for pitchers and looking for players. Where you got a guy like AJ Preller, the president of operations for the San Diego Padres and some other teams too, like the Dodgers. And I don't know these guys' name, but these guys, they're out there really. They're at the Louis Vuitton and the Gucci, man. They getting those big dogs. And I said that Cashman don't have the stones, man. Cashman don't has the nuts. He don't got the nuts or how to really sit on the table and say, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna give you all these top prospects we have, but we know that we're gonna get somebody that's a sure thing, you know. So, and I'll make an example, right? Last year at the trade deadline, um, damn, last year at the trade deadline, we got it was a good trade deadline, right? We got some good arms. We got some good arms, but hold on. Let me text this to somebody. Anyway, last year at the trade deadline, we got some good arms. But we didn't get the best arms, right? We got David Bednar, and I'm grateful for him, and I think he's good. But there was two guys out there, right? Because we needed bullpen help for real, and we needed a closer bad. And there was two guys out there that were available, and Mason Miller and what's the guy's name? Joan Duran, right? That's the guy from the Twins that got traded to the Phillies. Anyway, those two guys, those are super duper studs. You get like those are the guys to get. We didn't get those guys, right? We never do. We never like, and what I mean by that is like the Yankees, they'll make a move, but they never, not anymore anyway. They never really get the guy. The last one was Soto, and I think that was how, coming off of a season where we didn't even make the playoffs, they were desperate because ticket sales was down. They were desperate to fill the stands with some, with fans, and so they went that route. I don't think they would do it again, and it's not a knock against David Bednar. I like David Bednar, but would you rather have Mason Miller or Duran versus David Bednar? Look, Ranger Suarez too is another guy. Even though, right? Look, he had a great October for the Phillies. Ranger Suarez is on the Red Sox now. That's another guy that we forgot about. So the Red Sox, when people were like, oh, the Red Sox got better. Yeah, they lost Alex Bregman, but their pitching got much better than it was. So the Red Sox rotation is looking like, what is it? Garrett Crochet. Look, Ranger Suarez, I get it. He doesn't throw very hard. I think I saw someone, I think he got lit up by the Mets, was it? No, he got lit up recently, though, in spring training. But he's effective. They got Garrett Crochet, Sonny Gray, obviously, Brian Bayo, and now this dude, Ranger Suarez. So they got a decent rotation. Is it better than the Yankees? No, but it's a decent rotation, man. It's better than last year. It is definitely better than last year. When you're facing a team like that 9 times in the year or 10 times, however many times they face them, it's gonna be tough. Sunil says, I think Doval show up with vengeance this season. I hope so. I do. Because we're gonna need him. Wilkins says Ranger Suarez is good in all of his postseason appearances. Yeah, man. Ranger Suarez is like, he reminds me of Nestor Cortez, but better though, right? He's not a blow a fastball by you really. He just knows how to pitch and how to be effective. But we'll see. That's a guy that I wouldn't have been mad if the Yankees went and picked him up. But we'll see though. I'm hoping that, look, from everything that I've seen so far, I'm hoping that Ryan Weathers can be, that lightning in the bottle. I'm hoping Ryan Weathers could be the You know, the Cashman magic, right? That we need, especially early in the season until Cole and Rodon comes back. But look, it's still yet to be seen. I don't want to get too high on some of these players in spring training because it's just spring training, you know. But if Brian Ruthers could come out there and pitch and be solid for us, that'd be a huge boost. Now, for the rotation, the pitching, obviously, who in the bullpen is going to step up? Because for this team to click, right? I'm talking about the Yankees, somebody in all aspects, somebody in the lineup, maybe one or two, but especially one person in that lineup needs to really step up, right? In the offense. And even in the rotation, the first couple months, somebody in the rotation needs to step up, whether it's Luis Hill, Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, somebody. And then somebody in the bullpen, whether it's Camilo Duval, Fernando Cruz, somebody in there needs to step up big time for this team to be good, If not, then it's just gonna be a long season. Pablo says the only pitcher I trust in the postseason was pre-Tommy John Garrett Cole. Yeah, I'm hoping that we get the same Garrett Cole. And even pre-Tommy John Garrett Cole, I was not that I didn't trust him, but I don't know. When Garrett Cole first came to the Yankees, right? He didn't pitch all that great, man. In the postseason, those first 2 years, it was rough for him. So I lost a lot of confidence in him then, but he gained it back the last few years, though. He built it back up. So, and if he says so, includes the Yankees won't make. No, I never said that. The Yankees making the post. I think this team is making the post. I think this team, as it is right now, bro. As it is right now, I don't think it's enough to make it to the World Series. And even if they did, it won't be enough to win. Like, I'm gonna just be real. I hope they do, right? I hope I'm wrong, obviously, because that's my team. But we got to be realistic here. If they couldn't do it last year, what makes you think they're gonna do it this year? A lot. Look, I would say this because it's not impossible, but a lot will have to go right. A lot. Look, I'm not one. Look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm gonna keep it 100%. I want to be super optimistic, right? And I'm telling you, this team is good. Like, they could make it to the playoffs. But beyond that, man, realistically, like I'm not gonna give false hope either, right? Um, like, man, how? That's what I don't understand. Like, have the Yankees gave you anything really to be like, yeah, we're freaking World Series contenders right now? I don't. I hope they are. I think they up there, but then, and if I had to rank teams, right, the Yankees are not even top three for me in all of baseball. The Yankees are not even the top three best teams right now. They're like fourth in my rankings, and I'm a Yankee fan, bro. But let's just be realistic. Like, I don't. The math don't math. I get it. 94 wins last year. Got it. But the way I see it is this team is strong enough to get you to a playoffs. But it's not strong enough to get you through a series versus a team like the Mariners or the Dodgers or the Blue Jays. Or it's not, you know. Walker says current lineup is a construction room. In 2025, a lot of fans have these same sentiments. Yeah, man. I was one of them. And we lost, bro. That's what I'm telling you. I knew, look, guys, in September, remember we had that September run, right? They had to face we faced the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Astros, and the Tigers, right? It was in September. It was like, yo, this is gonna make or break this team and everything. Look, and everybody's like, well, because we beat the Blue Jays that series 2 out of 3, and everybody's like, deep down, bro, I knew they couldn't beat the Blue Jays, man. Of course I wanted to believe in them, and I was like, whatever happened in the season but deep down I knew they couldn't beat the Blue Jays, dude. They smacked us all season, bro. It wasn't even close, man. And look, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but come on, guys, Yankee fans out there in the world, be honest with yourself. We got mollywopped by the Blue Jays last year, all season. You know, not like, oh, it was close. And we just no. I don't care if we had 94 wins and they had 94 wins. When we played them, we got absolutely destroyed by them all season long. So when we faced them in the ALDS, I knew, man. I knew deep down that, man, I don't think we could beat them. I was hopeful, of course, be hopeful, and I'm hoping that this year is different. And we'll see, because it is a different year. You just never know. But based on what I saw last year, and based on the fact that this roster is not much different than it was last year in October, um, it's gonna be tough to beat this team. If the Blue Jays are playing like they played last year, it's gonna be tough, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be hard to beat this team. Yeah, some people had no hope for them making the postseason. Oh, because they didn't sign Soto. No, I mean, look, the plan B was great, right? Getting Cody Bellinger and all that. Like, that's as good of a plan B as you can get. They didn't finish the job though, because we started the season without a third base. Um, yeah, but it was the best that you can do without getting Cody Juan Soto. And some argue, and even me at some one point I was like, man, it's even better than not getting Juan Soto. And that was great when Paul Goldschmidt was batting 360 in the first few months and everything, but that quickly died down, man. Towards the end, I kind of realized, like, man, yeah, Juan Soto's he's, you know, what do you want, quantity or quality? Even though he's only one player in the lineup, but man, that was a huge bat. And in terms of the offense, man, those we never replaced that production. We got lucky though with guys like Grisham and Ben Rice and all that. And that's another thing, right? Look, if people step up, you never know, right? Anything can happen. Who knew that Ben Rice was going to have the season he had? Who knew that Grisham was going to have the season he had? You know, like, I don't think anybody predicted that. But man, right? That's a lot that went right last year, and we still weren't good enough. This year, my thing, right? I'll say this last thing. We'll move on. My thing is, this team is good enough to make it to the playoffs. Every year we make it to the playoffs. We're good enough to make it to the playoffs. Are we good enough to really go the distance and go toe to toe with some of these juggernaut teams? I don't think so, man. I don't. You know, Japan USA final. You think so? I think it's gonna be USA and DR, because DR, it could be there. Right? I know the bracket. Let me look at the bracket. I think it's gonna be DR. I think DR is better than Japan this year. I do. Remember Japan? They don't have Tetsuya Imai. They have Yamamoto, but they don't have Sasaki. Who else they don't have? We saw Kikuchi got beat by a regular freaking Japanese team the other day. Otani ain't pitching, so we're gonna need Austin West to tap into that Dominican side. He had an RBI single today. Boone stinks. Yeah, Boone's a good manager, but he's just not good enough, I guess. Take us to the promised land. Dodgers had worse batters than us. They won because of pitching. Man, I'm gonna be honest. Look, if you want to go back to that 2024 World Series, I don't want to relive that, but look, we won because some bad decisions made and some poor playing, some poor, fundamentals, really. It was bad fundamentals. Not only game 5 and game 1. Game 1 should have been the Yankees. We should even never made it to that Freddie Freeman at bat because we had more than enough opportunities. Right, we had the lead at one point. There was a Soto may have made a throwing mistake. It was a couple mistakes in that game too. Just weren't, it wasn't meant to be, man. And then Boone didn't help too with his moves. Wilkins says our pitchers earning $30 million a year are bums in October. Yeah, unfortunately, man. But I don't think. See, the thing is, I think that the Blue Jays were gonna do that to anybody, man. They really were. I think the Yankees, they need to practice. Like you see right now, like I get it. What's his name? Freaking Blake Snell, right? He's hurt. Right. Whatever. I think the Dodgers more, they just know, like guys like Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, they know that they're gonna struggle. Like they can't give you so many innings. So they rather them be fresh in October, right? The Yankees, we don't do that. And I get it because our pitching depth maybe is not as good as a freaking as the Dodgers, but I don't think Max Innings, you hear me? I don't think Max Fried, you saw like towards the second half and towards the end, it looked like he was running out of gas to me. Obviously, Rodon was pitching hurt. His pitchers run out of gas, man. When you're throwing freaking 170, 200 innings in a season, you got to save some of that arm, man. Save some of that arm for September and October. That's what I'll say. I think the Yankees, they pitched Max Fried too much last year, but they didn't have a choice, right? Because Cole was gone, and we were fighting for our lives at one point, The Yankees were borderline, I get what NFE was saying, that a lot of people lost hope on the team. But remember, at one point, I'm talking about in August, the Yankees were literally fighting for a playoff spot. Right, going into September, we were literally battling for a wild card. It was that tight where we can just fall off completely. So you couldn't give Max Fried a rest. You couldn't give Judge a rest if you wanted to. He ended up getting hurt anyway. You couldn't give Rodon a rest. You couldn't give anybody a rest because we only had a 1.5 game lead in the wild card, And that's the Yankees' fault, right? Man, look, I don't want to get it because it'll be a whole nother episode, man. But you know what I'm going to start counting? We got to start counting how many punted games, right? Because there's so many punted games, especially in the beginning of the season. They're always coming around to bite the Yankees in the ass towards the end. So many. It's always like that. Look, we were one game, away from winning the division. And I could think of 20 games we punted. Shoot, the Yankees were punting games. The game after the All-Star break, they punted, Freaking, remember they got Rico Bronya, whatever his name is, for one game to get rocked by Atlanta. Welcome says Max Fried is a known bust in the postseason. I think Max Fried, I really think that when by the time you get to October, he's burnt out. Oh my goodness. I think by the time you get to October, he is burnt out. Stephen B says the summer snow. No, but even before that, man, there was so many punted games. I hope that Boone learned his lesson, but there's a reason why it keeps happening every year. If they keep doing it, I'm not blaming the Yankees. Welcome, you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm saying that this dude is not a guy who can give you that many innings. I don't think he is, man. He gives you a lot of innings, but he's not the same later in the season that he is early in the season. And I think it's because fatigue in his arm. And I'm talking about Max Fried. The same thing with Stroman in his career. Stroman was the same way. Always having good first, except for that second year with the Yankees, right? But Strowman will have a good first half and then fall off the second half because just fatigue, man. Bro, with pitchers, man, you gotta understand. It's not easy. Just imagine throwing 150, 200 innings. That's a lot, man. I don't know how many innings this guy threw last. Let me see if it comes up here. Throwing a lot of innings, man. Your arm wears out, dude. Oh, then we pulled up his career. I don't want his career stats. Max Fried, 2025. Right? He gave you 200 innings. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. Luis Hill's another guy who ain't going to give you that many innings. You know? He's always struggled with injuries and shoulder injuries, and now he got lat injuries. Luis Hill's another guy that you can't really give him too many innings in the season. You know, Will Warren proved that he could pitch a lot of innings. The thing is, Will Warren ain't the greatest of pitchers. Well, and it could be that too. It could be that too. You know, but you talking about postseason. I'm talking about like even the second half of the season in regular games, you could tell that he's running out of gas. He's not performing as well as he does in the first half, and that's normal, right? You know who's like that too? Kind of opposite. Blake Snell. Blake Snell usually has a good second half. You know, the thing is, Blake Snell. The Dodgers already know. Like, look, he's a great pitcher, but he's not gonna give you 200 innings. You can't ask that from him. You know, because at some point he's gonna wear him down. So they just leave him on the IL for a couple months and then bring him back. You know. Load management, bro. That's what you got to do sometimes to preserve a player. You got to preserve players. Look, a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, let me tell you, son, that's another guy they got to preserve. Look, I'm not a fan of load management, but if you think Giancarlo Stanton is giving you 154 games this season, I don't know what to tell you, man. And look, and I hope, right? I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But come on, guys. Really? You know, like I want to be like a full season. I don't think you're getting a full season from him at all, right? So why not? Why not rest him now? You know, why not? That's what I think the Yankees should do. Jason for McGuire and Sprout. What's up, Katie? I know it's late, man. Thank you for joining. Just got back from music rehearsal. That was cool. What do you so you play music, like classical music, or do you sing? What do you do? I'd love to know. Wilker says, yes, I just care about the fact that none of our postseason pitchers, I understand him again. No, I know. Like, look, yeah, none of our postseason pitchers, but my thing, like, you know, people keep saying that it was the pitching, man. I think the Blue Jays, it was a little bit the pitching, yeah. The starters. I think there was nobody we could throw up there that was gonna really shut them down. They're that good, man. They were that good. They really were. Yeah, but Freed really shit the bed though, especially after Luis Hill. Like even when Luis Hill got beat, that game one. Like, and I hate going back in time, right? But I felt like they pulled Luis Hill too early, even though I knew he didn't have it, right? I feel like they pulled him a little too early because it looked like he was figuring it out. But once we saw Will Warren in there, it was a wrap, guy. Will Warren, he's another guy. He cannot pitch in the big moment. Until something changes, I am convinced that dude is like a scared puppy on the mound whenever it's a big game. He has not pitched well in any big game in his young career. And I get it. It was his full season, right? His first full season. So it's tough. But you could see the dog in like someone like Cam Schlittler and then Will Warren, he completely falls apart, man. whenever something's meaningful. But I like Will Warren though. Yeah, I agree with you, Welkin though, man. The pitching did shit the bed. It did. Ace was good. Ace, what is good? No, I'm being hard on everybody for struggling. Everybody. But I get it though. When you pay somebody $30 million or 28 million, whatever it is they're giving them this year. We're talking about Max Fried here. If you're just joining, you want 200 innings from that guy. You know, I don't think that should be doing 200 innings a season. I really think that you have to find a way to preserve him. Maybe cut it down 50 innings or something. Save some of that arm for the postseason. Save some of it. At least try it. And if it doesn't work out, then it's just that he's not good in the postseason. But I think that obviously if you I think Max Fried was just done, dude. He gave you 200 innings. I think we saw it even before October. He wasn't the same the second half. That's what I'm saying. I think that Max Fried is another guy that you gotta find a way to give him starts off. You have to. Unfortunately, the Yankees got a few of those guys that you got to find a way to give them some rest. Goddamn. Goddamn. Yeah, yo, Woken, you're not proving. I understand his numbers in October are not great. Your theory is that he's just a puss, right? Woken's theory is Max Fried is a pussy and he's not competitive and he's scared of the moment. My theory is that by the time he gets to the October, he's already finished. He don't got nothing in the tank to give anymore. That's my theory. And I say that because I saw it last year. If you was to pull up, I bet you if you pull up, like, we saw it in the second half. Yeah, he was dealing with blisters, but even when it was fine, he's just not the same pitcher in the second half anymore. It's like he starts to decline as the season goes on, little by little by little. And I can only attribute that to fatigue, man. 195 innings. Maybe he can't give you 195 innings, Maybe you got to limit him to 150 or something. That's what I think. But you could be right, though. Maybe he's just a puss, man. And maybe he just doesn't have the heart to pitch in the postseason. I don't think so, man. From what I know, right? And I don't know if you guys watch Adam Ottavino. He has he has a channel and he does some good stuff, right? Anyway, he was talking about Max Fried one day because he knows him personally. He was like, yo, trust me. This dude is a freaking super competitor. He didn't say, I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much nervous steel. He got cojones, So I don't think it's that. And I trust what he's saying. I think it's just, especially versus the Blues, you just get beat sometimes, man. Giolito is in another team. What team he went to? Let me see. They got him here. Why is it showing career totals? I gotta fix this. Anyway, I don't think he's on the Red Sox anymore. Is he? Let me look it up. Oh, he's on nowhere. I guess because I'm reading this on Newsweek. It says Phillies predicted to sign Lucas Giolito before opening day. Yeah, no one signed him. Man, honestly, he's trash too. He's all right though. He's better than a lot of other guys. It's crazy that nobody signed him, but I'm not that high on him. When the Red Sox had first signed him, and then immediately he had Tommy John surgery, so they got screwed. I didn't think he was that good then either. He's decent, but he ain't that good. Definitely not that good. Stanton hit 114 mile power ball. We should trade him while the stock is high. Nah, man, I think that they need to give Stanton some time. Well, my thing, man, with him is, most likely you're not gonna get 154 games out of him. So they got to find a way to, the same thing with him, and they got to find a way to preserve this man, to get the best of him at the end of the season. That's what they got to do. Find a way. They look the Dodgers did it with their team last year, right? Guys like Tyler Glasnow. You think they knew that Tyler Glasnow was not going to be able to give him a full season, or Blake Snell, so they found a way to just hang in there, right? They fought because at one point the division was really tight in the NL West. They fought all the way, but they saved their guys for when they needed most, for September and October. And everybody came back fresh and ready to go. And that's when they freaking dominated, right? Same thing with Ohtani. They could have brought Ohtani back way earlier, but why do that, Just let him rest, save him for later. That's what they were doing. Save him for the postseason. Save him for this. That's why I think the Yankees need to start, especially with certain players. I think you really got to practice load management, unfortunately. Unfortunately. What time is it, man? 10:31. I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes and we'll keep it pushing. Yeah, man. Like my cousin Bam Bam said, don't forget to hit that like. Dumping more, rebuild. You can't do that, man. If you rebuild right now, you might as well tell Judge, look, we're not gonna win. I wouldn't be mad if you asked for a trade. So I need Cashman fired, period. I think Cashman is definitely the problem. A big problem, right? But he's done some good too. We can't lie about that, man. He's hit the jackpot on certain players. But yeah, man, I think it's time for him to go. But it's more than that. It's throughout the whole organization, man. It's not the same Yankees we thought they were, man. They not going howling, especially right now. Now with 2027 coming, that looming, the lockout's coming. You think they're gonna spend any more money? You think they want to add more money on their payroll, knowing that they probably gonna go through a whole season without making any revenue? I don't think they're doing that, guys. That's the crazy part, man. That's why I keep getting mad, because I'm like, I hope, for the Yankees to really, jolt themselves to a real serious World Series contender, they're going to have to make a move during the season. By a move, I mean a trade, right? And most likely that's going to involve adding, money to the payroll. And, I don't think they're going to do it. I think the Yankees, man, that's why they didn't really do much this offseason. They keep saying, oh, we believe in this team and we believe. That's bullshit. They gaslighting you. Yeah, they believe in it a little bit, but that's not what the reason why they didn't really make big moves or anything. The reason they didn't do is because they're digging a bunker right now, right? They're digging their trenches for the upcoming freaking battle between the owners and the Players Association. And they're going to hunker down right in that trench for as long as they can and hold the line. The owners are going to hold the line, and in order to do that, why would they add more payroll? If anything, they're trying to bring down the payroll. The more they could bring down the payroll, the more Howe and the owners could hold the line. So, I hate, and I hope I'm wrong, but they haven't shown me anything to believe otherwise. They're not spending money not because they think this team is good enough to go all the way and everything as is. They're not doing it for that, right? They're doing it because they preparing for this lockout, pretty much. Yeah, certain players, man. Certain players, they gotta practice load management, I think. Key to winning is a manager and a catcher. You make a good point there, man. Yeah, I think, Like what? I don't even know. Boone has another year after this one, right? I know this is Cashman's last year, and then Boone has another one. I don't know what the Yankees are gonna do, man. But they can't. If they don't win this year, right? I don't know how you bring these people back, man. 16 years, especially Boone, right? A manager, because a manager is easy to fire, right? That happens all the time. Um, GMs too, but more managers. So it's like if he doesn't win this year, man, I don't know how you keep him, whether you like him or not, whether he's a good manager or not. You spent $330 million consecutively for 10 years straight or 8 years straight, however long he's been the manager, and he's failed to take you there. So I don't know. They got to figure that out. Pablo says it's going to be the Dodgers plus the players versus. No, don't get it twisted. The Dodgers want a salary cap too. Every owner wants a salary cap. Don't get it twisted, right? The Dodgers are just smart. The Dodgers is like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna sign everybody now. Because obviously, it's not like if they put a salary cap, it's not like say, well, you got to give up Tucker, you got to give up this guy now. No, they got all that deferred. They're gonna worry about that in the future. All these players that they signed, they're all grandfathered in. And don't be surprised. They might do it. They might sign free agents during the lockout before, if they come up with a cap, right? Which I doubt it though. They might do it even before that. They might be signing players there, but they want a lockout. I mean, not a lockout. They want a cap. Every owner wants a cap. That's more money in their pocket, dude. That is more money in the owner's pocket, and the team more revenue, more money for them. Why not get a cap? Well, because I wish I could fail for 16, 17 years straight and keep my job. It's not that he failed, right? Here's the deal. It's not that it's, it's the resources that he had, and he had more resources than almost every team for the last 16 years, except for maybe in the last 5 years, the Dodgers, obviously, and the Mets have come up big time and started spending. But Cashman had the most money for a very long time to put a winning team, and he's failed to do so. So yeah, you're right. In that regard, he failed. You know, but if you look at it in another regard, you can say, well, he made the playoffs pretty much every year. With his rosters, and you can't argue with that either. But at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, but when you're spending $300 million every single year, you better make the playoffs. You better make the playoffs, because if you don't, it's a super duper epic failure. Yeah. Pablo says, I predict Dodgers getting Scooble next offseason. Bro, I wouldn't put it past them. That's what I think they're doing. They're just going to sign as many studs they can and just grandfather all of them in if a salary cap does happen. But they want a salary cap, I think, but they're not going to care because they're going to or still be over it, That salary cap is because obviously all the current contracts are going to have to be grandfathered in because you got to pay these guys as a contract. So they're going to be good. They're going to be like, yeah, we got all our guys, while every other team is still going to be under the salary cap. They're going to be way over it still because they got everybody's locked up for a bunch of years. Sunil says Mets got Soto and ran it backwards. Yeah, but you can't spend it. They spent what, like last year was like $340 million or something, the Mets. You cannot have a payroll like that and not make the playoffs. It's just, you can't do it. That happens, man. It's crazy. And this already happened to us. It happened to us in 2023, so it could happen. My thing, man, is the Yankees rely on Aaron Judge. Without Aaron Judge, man, I'm telling you, this team is a fucking fifth place, fourth place team. He is that important. That important. But anyway, folks, man, that's gonna do it for me. I appreciate all of y'all joining me who did join. Please like if you haven't liked the video. Like it, right? Hit that button. It's somewhere over there, right here. Boom, right there, somewhere. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. My bad, guys. I'm trying to keep it low because my kids are sleeping. I'm gonna try to come on in the morning. We'll do the preview for the games tomorrow. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow night, right? With that being said, take care. Let's go Yankees. And enjoy it, man. WBC. Have a good day, y'all. Peace.